some angry cake. I know you hurting, I don't mean to be insensitive, but the time we got on this earth is kind of tentative. Wasting all of that energy on your enemies. You could be in Italy sipping and making memories. You say that you can't when I know you can, but you don't really want it though. I overstand. Yeah, I overstand. Yeah. You need to breathe. Yeah. You need some love in your life. Good in your life. You need to breathe.
I love this song. As you can obviously see, I want to give a shout out to Eze Jackson and Epic Fam for providing the soundtrack for this conversation. What's good, good people? My name is Dionne Joyner Weems. I am the founder and CEO of Audacity Group, a brand shop here in Baltimore for bold ideas. And let me tell you something, there is nothing bolder than a city that recognizes, appreciates, and embraces the power of their creatives. I want to be the first person. Let me be the first person to congratulate Lady Breon and the Black Arts District for offering an opportunity for Black artists in Baltimore to grow, to connect, and to build. For the demographic that has been hit the hardest during this pandemic, this weekend's event offers free tools, techniques, and resources for emerging Black artists. I'd also like to take a minute and thank my partners. Shout out to From Baltimore with Love and the My Be More Project. Hey, Brian Dawkins, I know you out there, for always representing to the world what Baltimore truly is. So if you're not using that hashtag My Be More to show the world why we love our city, please do so. And finally, I have to thank a friend, and he's like the hardest working brother in social impact, Delali Jarasa of Fearless Sports, for sponsoring this event today. It's a brand that backs the doers, and there is no one in this city that's doing it as hard as they are than the guests that I have the honor to introduce to you. As a brand marketer, I'm always talking about the vitality of a brand story. And as artists, I think you all agree, your work, it is your story, and it's your greatest form of connection. My guests today are acclaimed artists with vast lived experience. And I want to put emphasis on lived experience. Lived experience is not something that you can dispute. It cannot be refuted, okay? This is something where they are sharing their personal tips and tales of owning your brand, your story, and your truth. As you can see with Alanah coming out there, I mean, we so excited to get this thing started. So first, let me bring out my girl, Alanah Nichole Davis, social change and arts consultant, writer, and community activist. Eze Jackson, community organizer, one of my favorite artists in Baltimore, and acclaimed musical artist and founder and president of Epic Fam. Maybin, former NFL player, activist, educator, and community organizer. And as you can see, this is free for all ages, okay? 0 to 100, we in here, okay? Gozi Olandu, young Emmy-nominated makeup artist. I mean, I'm going to say some other big things about her. She's going to tell me to shut up, but a big deal coming out of Baltimore. Brian Robinson, the creator of the Black Genius Art Show, educator and mixed media artist. Coming into your life. Thank you, Brian. Ernest Shaw, educator and the 2021 Baker Artist Award winner. You see, I gotta, it's like the, Dionne Joyner Weems, like a Tribe Called Quest, you gotta say it all together type of thing. Just gotta put that out there. Last on the list, but first in my heart, Jason Weems, national touring stand-up comedian, writer, and former educator, and also my husband. How's everybody doing? Everybody okay right here? Unmute yourselves. Give me a good, give me some rock. I need some energy. We're good. Okay, so for those that are watching us on YouTube, please feel free to chat. We have Jean in the sky that's organizing everything. I'm going to now talk to Ernest. What the hell? Seriously?
Ernest just left.
Seriously?
He's busy. He got things to do.
They're giving out tickets.
So I've had conversations with all of you, and I said this before the program started, and I want to say it in front of everyone. This is an honor. This is a true honor to be sitting on stage with people that I truly do respect. I am true fans of yours. So if I seem a little nervous, it's because I am. Artists, to me, are the only people that truly know the truth about us. They bear witness to what everybody knows, but what nobody wants to talk about. But in 2021, against a backdrop of a global health pandemic, racial inequality, police brutality, a mass economic downturn, and the all-consuming social media era, right? That's empowering everybody with an unfiltered, unrestricted flow of information. I have a two-part question for you. How does the emerging Black artists break through and own their brand, their story unapologetically? And based on your lived experience, what should they be watching out for? I'm going to kick this first to Ernest because he had a really interesting take the last time we had a discussion about being an unapologetic artist. And you gave me a good way of looking at it. So I'm gonna kick it to you, Ernest.
That's assuming that I remember that conversation.
I know you do.
No. So I would just first ask if you could restate the question.
So with all of this is going on,
Mm-hmm.
how does an artist right now, an emerging artist,
Mm-hmm.
how do they break through all of this clutter and stand true on their story unapologetically?
So I'll speak for Ernest, right? A couple of things I was taught. Number one, first and foremost, always maintain your integrity. No matter what you do, however you move, whatever deals you make, whatever opportunities come your way or don't come your way, always maintain your integrity. I'll also like to add, in assisting and framing the conversation, I personally never chased fame, fortune, or money. That was not my motivating factor. I had beautiful parents that helped provide everything I need to grow into, and I continue to grow, but to grow into what I believe to be Ernest, or who I believe to be Ernest Shaw, or who I believe Ernest Shaw to be, right? Mm-hmm. So in doing so, because I come from a family that was so supportive, and I only bring that up because I have students who, and young people that I'm around that I immediately realized don't have that. But because I had that, it helped me shape, coming to a certain level of consciousness that so I'm trying to choose my words wisely.
No. So here's the deal. No. So what I thank Lady Breon for doing is the fact that if we do not listen to our artists,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be our downfall. So this platform is for us to be honest. In our conversation, we were talking about how everyone will say there's a difference between being an unapologetic artist
Mm-hmm.
and an unapologetically Black artist. And based off of those two, what's the distinction?
Okay.
I'm curious on the take.
And I'll make this quick too. I'll make this really quick. When I say Black, when I refer to Black, I'm not necessarily referring to Black as a racial distinction. I'm referring to Black as a cultural distinction and as an ethnic distinction. In that, and this is for me, in doing so, it is the art becomes, I am required to do certain things. I take, and I'm not, again, I don't put this on other artists, but I follow in Nina Simone's tradition. An artist's responsibility is to document the times. An artist's responsibility is to lead the movement. We're not the entire movement. We may just be the flicker to the flame, but we help articulate, or we speak in a language that everyone else can hear and understand and digest. You have your intellectuals who speak in an academic language, and we take their message and we communicate it to the masses. So me personally, I don't consider myself an activist in that regard. I consider myself, and I take this from Arthur J. more of an alchemist. So my approach is to communicate in a way that is respectful to the community, that is relevant and responsive to the community, and it's community centered. So whatever imagery I may create or whatever projects I'm a part of is community centered. And I'll go as far as to say it's African centered. So when I say Black, I mean African in the cultural sense, not necessarily Black in a racial sense. And I hope that answers the question.
Of course, I want to hear, is there another take or perspective on that? Aaron?
All right, so I would definitely say I agree wholeheartedly with what my brother Shaw just said. Like that right there is essentially what I think all of us try to do respectfully in our own lanes. And I think that all of us are also just as apprehensive as he is about trying to assign to other artists what we feel like our artists should be doing. Because part of the whole idea of embracing the freedom of our artistry is understanding that a lot of like the viewpoints and the ideas that we bring to bear won't necessarily be ideas that are well received by mass media. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing art intentionally that has messaging about our community in a way that is going to educate people about not just how we live, but what that feels like. You know what I mean? What that tastes like, what it looks like. Like we whether you look through a visual lens or you look through a lens of what we're able to accomplish musically, you're able to see our narrative represented in so many different ways. And I think that one of the things that I zoned in on when I heard your question was the idea that we would be audacious enough to be ourselves is a radical thought in and of itself. You know what I mean? Like, just me being a Black man and operating in that space is unapologetically is radical in and of itself, because we're taught and force-fed ideas and images of ourselves being subservient, being told who and what and how we should be. And we're coming about in this time now where so many more of us are becoming unapologetic in the way that we're carrying ourselves and starting to apologize less and explain ourselves less for accepting those cultural ideals and representing them in our work. And I think that being able to see that audaciousness from artists like us actually gives people a different sense of pride and a desire to really see themselves manifest some of that same energy in their own lives.
I have to ask you, and that's a great point. I want to bring Gozi in for, when you keep that thought in mind and you find yourself in such diverse rooms. So I'm thinking about you on the set. There are some that could say that, you know what, now is a great opportunity for Black artists to come on and be unapologetic, and they're going to rush through those doors. What would you say to that, Gozi?
I think it's great that a lot of people have, pulled up to the table who naturally probably would not have been there because we may not have had those opportunities. But, one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of, people of color during this trend, and let's pray it's not a trend, of expanding on, giving opportunities to more Black artists. Sometimes they are offered much, much lower rates than other people who are not of color. And they fall for the trap of, okay, look, but they still want me, although the money, may not be as much as I thought it should have been or whatever. I just want people who whether you're emerging, whether you're seasoned, whatever, just stand within your worthiness. You know, it's almost like you know, we are worth it. We have so much to bring to the table. We should be looking at these organizations or these, you know, communities or whatever that we're walking into, like, you know, do I want to be a part of this? Not just, oh, they want me, you know, I need to be a part of this. Like, do you want to put your name and attach it to that project? So I think that's, you know, something that I've seen a lot. I've been mentoring so many artists of color, and, you know, just the rates and things. I'm like, you know, no, like that, like you're still going to be, it's not feasible for you to be doing all of this for what they're offering. Like, you have to negotiate higher. So that's one thing that I've seen and I've noticed with a lot of people right now, that, you know, certain rates and certain opportunities have been lower than people who are not of color.
See, so money is, people who know me know that talking about money is I'm uncomfortable about that.
Yes.
Two people who are not.
Wow.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better though. But let me tell you, when you bring it like a Jason Waynes, when you bring it like an Alanah, where it's like, yo, here's my price.
Run it up. Run it up.
I'm like, but
double it.
Where does that audacity come from? And y'all can unmute yourselves, because I need to hear the mm-hms to know if y'all want to jump in here.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
I think the audacity comes when you get tired of being lowballed, or you find out what your worth is, right? And a lot of times we don't, in our different mediums, we don't get given, you know, a sort of standard of what we should ask for when we do so. So we start out just being willing to show up and be a part of it and being glad to be asked. You know what I mean? But I remember one specific instance where it happened for me. I was in the bar with one of the homies, and somebody walked up to me and they said, Eze Jackson, like, what would it take to get you to do this thing? And he kind of laid out what he wanted me to do. He kind of wanted me to help curate this event or whatever. And my homeboy yelled out what I thought was a ridiculous price. And then the guy goes, I think we can do that. And it was that moment when I was like, wait a minute, well, then that means that I've been lowballing for a long time now. So after a while, you get sick of that, and then you go, all right, well, this is my price, and you know what I mean? I'm either going to tell you straight up what it is, or as soon as you ask me, I'm going to give it to you.
Jason, go ahead, jump.
Yeah. It's what is easy. I'm sorry, literally what Eze just said. It's one of these things of you give your number, you stand on it. Starting out in comedy is one of these things. You're taking gigs for $50 here, $100 here, maybe $250 might be a good gig. But I mean, once you throw out a number and tell somebody it's $2,500 and they agree, then you kind of just scale it from there. And when you really look at the landscape of your business, you might just be looking at it in the small pocket of your community. Like, you know, the industry of comedy is so vast and there's so much money in it. The amount of $100 gigs that you may say no to, you get $1,500 and it makes up for all that loss. So it's saying the number and standing on it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Also,
if y'all don't mind, I gotta get Alanah in here real quick, because this is something that I've seen you talk a lot about, Alanah, and knowing that with mentors, like having other people around you that can say, hey, Alanah, what did you tell them? Hell no. Would you say that helps?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, hi, I'm Alanah. I think it really helps, you know, when you're kind of coming into a conversation and you're backed by people who believe in you. And I think, you know, when you were asking that question about emerging artists, I thought about it as well. You know, emerging artists have to know that they have something that's like worth putting out into the world. And so even just when you have those educators like Brian, like Jason, I heard you say you were an educator earlier. Even Eze Jackson is someone who is mentoring people out in the Baltimore community. Like, if you're telling people like, yo, like, you're really dope, but also telling people when they're not, and I would love to talk about that, but like, and how you do it in like a tasteful way, but like, or that they just need to be sharpened, you know what I mean? But like, I think having people specifically people like Michelle Antoinette Nelson or Love the Poet, who was in Baltimore for a long time and is now in Oakland, who saw me when I was doing my open mic, and she was running one of the longest running open mics in Baltimore. And when she saw me, she said, "You're doing something really good, kiddo." And, you know, I was at a point where I was literally living in East Baltimore in one bedroom with my mother, my 2 daughters, and myself, and didn't have any money. And I was just doing what I was doing for $5 at the door and was leaving with, you know, $150, maybe 300 on a good night. And making that spread, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to quit my job post-divorce and like be an artist. And that was really cute, Alanah. That was so cute. But but I was really broke, and I was really depressed, and I was really tired, and I was doing too much for too little. And I was vastly just too talented to be charging $100 to get out of my bed and do any damn thing. So, you know, I think that especially Black artists have to know their value and have to be okay with, and you know, when you know you're lowballing yourself, and I talk about this with like some of my friends like Kondwani Fidel, who's an artist, a performance artist and an author, we often kind of bounce prices off of each other, but we always say, you know, when you email someone and they email you right back and they cash app you the money as if they're scared you're gonna renege, you know you lowballed yourself, because they'll email you right back like, cool, you said what? Ooh. And then you're like, oh shit, I could have gone higher. So I just want to put that little tidbit out there too.
Great, Joel. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'm a double dutch in here. So I was a low ball expert. Because I worked in the element of film and now animation and painting and being a visual artist. I was a low ball expert. Like I would take money from people and do editing projects and spend hours editing, and that money was already spent on some McDonald's food. So it took me years to learn how to set a price, stick to it, and then be able to turn my back once I say it, and be like, all right, if you don't want it, someone else gonna get it. And I've struggled with that for years through filmmaking and through actual creating artwork for people. And it wasn't until 2014 when the brand was actually developed, I was able to take the element of film and animation and painting and really know how to price a piece, stick to it, honor it, and have that discernment to know I can say no and I'll be great. Because that transparency came through. So I wasn't trying to entertain people, say, oh yeah, I'm just an artist having fun. Thank you for choosing me. It was like I was being their puppet, so they can like, oh yeah, he's gonna do the work. Like, yeah, I sure am. But then it turns to like, no, I can't operate like that. Like, this is gonna take too much, it's gonna drain me. And then by the time the project's done, the money is not even an issue because it's been expired. And it's like I didn't do anything for any money because I was so busy lowballing my own self. But now I'm to a point where I understand my worth and the value in what I put out and how much it means to me. So that same love became also something that I'm living for. So it's like my baby. So my baby's got to eat the same way I got to. So it all works as one unit now. And I'm able to have conversations with people and put some prices out there and not back down from them because I understand the worth in my art.
Let me ask you though, on that note, hoping to like summarize this. When you know your worth, then you can ask your worth, which is great. But I'm gonna come back to the fact with social media, when you see that everybody seems to be doing well, it can be a bit daunting. Yeah. So I'm wondering, how do you find your center in that? Gozi, I saw that you had something for the previous, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what he just said. You know, it is definitely, of course, everything is a case-by-case basis. And also what Ernest said early on, you know, yes, we know it's not always about the money as an artist, you know, we're expressing ourselves, whatever. But at the same time, as an emerging artist, sometimes, yes, you will have to do a lot of things for free, especially with me coming in with film and TV and things like that. I did do a lot of things for free. So you just have to choose. Do I need this experience, or do I need to pay this bill, or do I need to do both, or does it make sense for me? So it's just a lot of things. I just don't, you know, it's just one, like I said, with me having so many mentees and me being mentored myself, of course, I just see a vast difference of, you know, everything is, of course, by case basis. I just wanted to clear that up really quickly and not just, you know, I'm not like money hungry, but definitely when you have the experience listed on your resume, there's no reason why you should not be paid your worth. No reason.
Can we just really quickly address why we always have the perception of ourselves, even as artists, of being like money hungry, if we have the audacity to demand what we clearly deserve? You know, we're probably the only people that really do that to ourselves as much as we do. And I feel like that's a real thing, because at least most of the people that are on this panel right now, we've all sat together at some point and similar stories about, you know, lowballing themselves, about not demanding what, you know, we deserve. Something that Alanah said, and something that that Ernest hinted at, that I think does need to be addressed, is we need to really re-establish the hierarchy of like the elders in our community that serve as the between the younger generation understanding their value. You know what I mean? She mentioned Love the Poet. Like, Love the Poet is, even though she's younger, she's still one of our elders. Larry Poncho Brown is one of our elders. Karen Buster, Kabibi, you know, like these are all amazing figures. Leslie King Hammond. These are pioneers in the Black arts movement, period, but especially here in Baltimore City. And when I think about my own career, I think without people like that, there's no way that I would have even known what was a price that I deserved to be asking for in the first place, you know. And I think that that's something that all of us struggle with. But when you have an established group of elders around that are accessible to you and that don't want anything from you but to see you succeed, I think that that really helps us along that path.
Yeah, I think too, Aaron touched on something really important. I think we have allowed this stigma that, you know, we do this strictly for the love and it's not about the money, to the point where so-called arts organizations in the city are very comfortable with stalling our payment. They're very comfortable with booking us for a gig and saying, you'll get the check within 2 weeks to a month. And at a certain point, I started to say, well, if your plumber comes to the house, he's not waiting 2 weeks for his check. You know what I mean? When you take your car to the auto mechanic, he's not giving you 2 weeks to a month before he receives his check in the mail. You got to pay him before you pull that car out of the lot. And I think we have to kind of start setting that standard, and even communicating with arts organizations in the city, huh?
They value the plumber, easy.
Right. That's
and I
what
think
I'm saying.
for a long time, we haven't, like, as a collective, we haven't really established that certain institutions value us the same way you would value other tradesmen.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's more like they love to say that they're doing for artists and that they want, oh, we promote our local artists. Really, we just the only niggas y'all can afford right now. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really respected us and you really appreciated us, then you would pay us right then and there when the event is done. And I think I'm getting a little passionate right here on this subject because I really am really sick of this shit in the city. You know what I mean? That, you know, it's just so acceptable to be like, oh yeah, we'll pay y'all whenever, or we might not pay you at all. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and I just think that whole culture needs to change, and we got to start setting that standard that, you know, when we step off stage or we show up, like, have the money ready.
Pay the money. Jason, jump. I see it.
Oh, exact same thing. It's these things of just using personal experience. When I first started comedy, I didn't even know anything about deposits or making somebody pay half before the show was even accepted. It was, you know, I would show up to the venue, no matter if that was driving 3 hours or 5 hours, and you might get there and the show's canceled, or the producer's acting funny, or you're chasing somebody around all night for your money. So then, you know, just in green rooms with, you know, like Aaron was just saying, with mentors, with the elders, you know, your comics who've been doing it, you know, 15, 20 years. And they're like, you know, youngin', you got to get 50% at least before you even add it to your calendar.
Thank God for Aaron Jackson. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Or just folks that hip you to stuff that you just might not know when you naturally come into something. Because like everyone has already, you know, alluded to, when you first get in it, it's for the love, it's for the passion. But then at some point it has to be for the bills, to keep the passion going, because passion dies at some point, you know, when, you know, the cell phone gets cut off and the food ain't in the refrigerator. So
I can't buy a pack of cheese. Yeah.
What you trying to buy, Alanah? What you trying to buy?
A pack of cheese.
You can't buy cheese with passion.
Can't buy cheese with passion.
Last time
You can't buy milk with passion.
So really can't.
Greater than that though, we can't expand upon the work. Like Alanah and what she's doing with, like, you know, the Impact Hub, what she's doing through her writing, what she's doing through all of that. B, what you're doing with Black Genius Art Show in terms of you being able to educate kids through that venue. Like, all of us, we can't have the greatest impact that we want to have in our community, in our homes, in the lives of those that we love, if we're starving. You know what I mean? Like, we can't build institutions that we want to exist for our empowerment if we can't afford to keep the lights on. We can't build and take care of a community of babies if we can't provide for our own. And I think that, like, like, everybody's getting that, like, the same thing. I think that, like, we really need a community of people around us that can really put us on to that perspective early, so we don't become those artists that romanticize that whole starving artist like time period. Like, we can move past this point. At the end of the day, everybody has to put their dues in, but to act like needs to, you know, be starving and evicted, can't pay their rent or take family in order to, you know what I mean, in order to pay their dues, then we going about this thing the wrong way.
Brian, I saw you.
No, I'm not a fan of that whole starving artist mentality. No, sir. I think, you know, we're the vessels that can ship a whole community, so we can't, you know, there's no starving here, you know what I'm saying?
Whoa. Say that again, Brian. Say that last part again.
We're the vessels that can ship an entire community, you know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be no starving here. I don't even accept that.
So if I could add this.
Please, sir.
Because you started the conversation, and I like the way you framed it, relative to folks being Black, right? So I think that, especially as artists, it's also important to make this distinction. Again, I'm speaking for me, but as an educator too, one of the things I communicate to students is this: we live in a capitalist society. So when I say I never chase money as an artist, that's because I had a job teaching, which could pay the bills, help raise my children, things of that nature. So I want to add that to the conversation. But at the same token, what I'm alluding to is existing within a capitalist society as an artist and not being a capitalist, especially relative to being Black. Because you hear terms like Black capitalists, you hear terms like or the conversation sometimes goes in the direction of money, money, money. And the second it becomes about money, it's no longer art. Then you are no longer an artist. You are, well, I'll just reference a book by William Roden, called The $40 Million Slave. One of the best books I've ever read in my life. And it's relative to sports, professional sports, but it also applies to the art world and art market, and musicians and actors. And so making money is not an issue. I lived check to check. I was that person. I didn't enjoy that. I'm just saying, I enjoy now not living check to check, because what that does is that frees mental space for me to be creative. You know, so but I did want to, for the audience, not for the folks here, I know most of the folks here, but for the folks watching, that it's important to make that distinction that while you exist within a capitalist society, because I don't advocate some of the theories that pretend people are living off the grid. That's foolish. Relative to our communities. You can exist within a capitalist society and work within it and not be a capitalist. And I think that's important for artists, especially Black artists.
It's like what Stevie said, be in it and not of it, right?
Be in it and not of it. I'm liking these little, I would imagine.
What Ernest said,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
What Ernest said was completely, it resonated with me because I feel the exact same way. I mean, you set a price that's fair, that builds in your talent, it builds in your rest, it builds in your time to be creative. But for me, the ultimate goal is to be paid at a point where I'm comfortable enough to just be free creatively, completely free. So whether that's how you look at Dave Chappelle or look at a 3000, I don't need to be the dude that's balling out. I need enough paper to make sure my loved ones are good, that I can help my, immediate surroundings, that, I can plan, for the future. But other than that, I want the space that I can keep the outside world at bay long enough for me to think, long enough for me to feel, long enough for me to, to not do anything.
Well, let me ask
things
you,
are important to being creative.
What opportunities do you think have come now in understanding that there is, whether it's sincere or not, there is a focus now on the Black experience? For the artist that is coming out, what tips do you want to get, additional tips you want to give to them to be aware of now that everybody feels so comfortable in expressing themselves? Again, back to the unapologetic.
Well, the most important thing that Ernest touched on earlier to me was the responsibility that goes along with it. Like, in my mind, the thing that separates us as artists from capitalists is we understand that all money ain't good money. All skin folk, you know what I mean? So understand that every bag that comes, every opportunity that comes is not what's best for us, is not what's best for community. So there's certain things will be offered as a Black artist just to fill a certain organization or person's quota. But if that person isn't really concerned with the liberation of the Black community, at the end of the day, are you being used as a pawn? Are you being used as somebody's latest example of how, they're investing in Black when they have no intention of helping to build our communities at all? And we have a responsibility of deciding where that line of demarcation is. There's a lot of responsibility in my mind that goes along with that. And I think that for the newer artists, especially now that we're in this time where everybody needs to fill that Black quota again, you know what I mean? Like people need to be able to say, all right, we've done this to show our support of the Black community. We've done this. We need to be focused on getting something more than just a ceremonial gesture that's going to be all right for us in the short time, And I think that that's something that warrants discussion.
Gozi, I saw.
So something came to mind right when Aaron was talking about just a tangible, an instance that happened with myself when, I was offered to do a certain film, and the script, the money was going to be amazing. The script was trash. It really didn't, how do you say, make Black people look the best. It wasn't realistic to me. It was fitting into a stereotypical, just, it was just trash. So, I felt like this is something I would always tell, again, my mentees, it's like, don't be afraid to speak up. It's like, I'm going to turn this job down. And these are the reasons why, your script was trash, because people don't talk like that, doesn't depict, I'm a Black person and this is what I've gone through and my friends have gone through and my family's gone through. And your script does not, reflect that. And it's, I can tell that your writers are not Black. You know what I mean? So it's just to empower every artist, like I said, whether emerging or seasoned, you know what I mean? Just to have that voice. It is really, truly our responsibility to educate.
Do you want to put the name in the chat? We don't have to say it. No? All right, I'll get that.
It was called trash.
It was called trash. That's exactly what it was called.
Just trash.
How many trash scripts have gotten made though because there wasn't somebody in the room that was willing to say this script is trash? To what Alanah was saying before, like, we got to be able to like also have a conversation with each other. Like, my best critiques about my work come from people whose opinions I genuinely respect. And it's my homie has to come to me and be like, nah, that's not it. Like, you got to go deeper with that.
But Aaron, wait a minute. But in the age, I gotta say, with these blue check marks and people having 1,000,001 doing these skits, and I'm speaking as the wife of a comedian, right? Where everyone can take on the title of an artist. Everyone can say that they are a makeup artist, fill up their accounts, and they've got it.
Because
I mean,
if a person is truly trying to see you be the best version of yourself, it's not an ego trip thing.
Okay.
It's not a you're not good thing. It's like, I've never gone to another person and say, I don't think that you're talented in this, that, or the third. I've said something that I feel like can be constructive, but that's what I'm saying. We're at a day and age where everybody wants to be so PC and so kind and understanding that we can't have real conversations anymore. You know, I don't want you to be mean for the sake of being mean. I want you to be constructive because you love me and you want my work to be the best reflection of itself that it can be. I want to come to you from a place of love and say, you know what, Dionne, like the Audacity group could be this if I think it could be this if you were to do something like this, and not willing to just say that and walk, but like, yo, if you need my help, you know what I'm saying? That's my thing. I want to leave you in the cold. Like, if I see something, then I got to be willing to give you a critique, but also be willing to help. That's
that part. Easy. I saw you turn. Oh, Alanah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I definitely want to second everything Aaron's saying as far as like making time to talk to other artists. And I make sure, even no matter what I'm doing, no matter how hectic my schedules are, I always have calendar time set aside on Tuesdays and Wednesdays because I answer all of my DMs. There's like a lot of people who are in like Gen Z or like later millennial years that might reach out and say like, hey, like, I want to be this. I love what you're doing. I want to be a writer. I have a dream. Like, you know, they're saying all kinds of stuff. And I would love to feed into that. So I always take those calls. I always make sure I take at least 30 minutes. Like I could give 30 minutes. You know, I've had people give me much more. I had Nichole give me years. So like, I would love to, you know, give back in that way and make sure that I'm talking to them. So when they ask about prices, I can give them that information. If there are workshops and cohorts and accelerators coming up or whatever might help them, you know, along their journey, I make sure I share that information as well. Because it's not just about money capital, but social capital as well, as we all very well know in Baltimore. So yeah.
Easy. I saw, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think that for every artist, it's important to have a small group of people close to you and around you that are willing to be honest with you, not just yes men, and you know what I mean. And I've had some family and friends that I've had to even tell straight up, like, look, I know I'm your homie, I know I'm family, I know I'm dope, I know that. But this particular song, what do you think? You know what I mean? I'm gonna play it for you again. You know, and they've got to want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, not, you don't want to force it. Like I don't force my music on my friends and family. You know what I mean? When I come around, I'm not like, hey, y'all want to listen to this new? You know what I mean? But there are certain people that I can take and they can listen and say, yeah, you know what I mean? You maybe redo that hook. I don't know if that hook should be there. I'm not really crazy about the second part. It starts off really good, but then it kind of, you know what I mean? Right. That kind of feedback is helpful, but it's important to build that circle of people that you trust to do that, because you know everybody's not willing to do that. Everybody's not equipped to do that. You know, everybody doesn't even care enough. You know what I mean? Like to do that. But I think for the artists, it's important that it keeps us humble, it keeps us grounded, and it keeps us from being delusional.
Can I ask you about the power of the artist? When I was talking to Lady Brianna, I was like, you know, this festival is not just for one particular type of person, right? We're talking about the expansive form of art. But when I had a conversation with Brian, he had brought up a good point about how people show or don't show respect for the craft. They don't see what you're doing as true work. They don't see the comment that you made about being the vessel that carries the community. That's not recognized. You know, to look at Gozi, oh, you just like painting faces. Oh, you like it's you know what I mean? So what do you say to that as people who have had experience, but then for the people that are coming in who may get hit with these things?
You talking about that term little?
Yeah, that term little.
So that's one of my things that kind of gets under my skin sometimes in different environments. It's like when someone come in and they see an artist's body of work, I don't care what platform it is, and the way they describe it, it's kind of a Baltimore thing at times. They might say, oh, he got his little art thing, or he got his little face thing, or he got his little book or whatever. It's like, you got to have this humility that's on 3,000, because sometimes you just want to like curse them out right on the spot. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Because they don't understand the years of trials and errors and just trying to throw stuff out to see if it works and just struggling, trying to find your platform and where you are and your voice and all this goes into that before you make that first sketch or go to that recording studio. So you put so much time and effort in it. Then when you hear somebody describe these years, even though you're still growing, no matter what level you are, and they say, oh, he got this little he got this little building. So some artists, that can be a stab in the back, in the chest or whatever. So that's been one of my things that I like to try to address. And I think as an artist, I want to know your opinion on that comment to my other panel guests and family. Like when
Alanah is ready. She's like, put me in, coach.
Because you got a little impact hub. So
your little impact. Your little jokes, telling your little jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're funny for real.
They don't call it dance collaboration, little.
Say it again, Aaron.
They don't call the band's collaboration, little.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, but this is what the point now I'm trying to get at, because I want to hear what I got to say. But as soon as somebody from outside of the city, as soon as some white folk with some money decide that you're valuable, oh man, it go from being little to, yo, you're the most inspiring. Like, why all of this white validation? Brian been dope. You know what I mean? Like, Easy been dope. Alanah been dope. Like, we've all been respectively dope. Why is it that we're so focused on, all right, once a person gets that big opportunity, then we can acknowledge all the work that we've seen this brother putting in for 10 years plus?
Go ahead, panel. Y'all jump.
I wanted to jump because I definitely, like, I've battled with people saying, oh, what's up with your little event, or you curating that little thing, or, you know, send me the invitation, you know, I might slide through. Like I didn't work hard on it. Like, you don't need to take off on a Friday to come to the opening or whatever it is, or the show. But at the end of the day, like, regardless of whoever thinks whatever about you, whether you're an artist or you identify as a comedian or a community organizer, cultural worker, I have to be sure about myself. I have to be certain that this is what I want to do. And so beyond the shadow of any doubt, even when I was dead broke, when nobody believed in me except for my mama, who's sitting right behind me, like, I had to know that I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I had to be very sure about that. I couldn't let anybody convince me otherwise. So no matter what somebody says, what adjective or verb or noun they might use, I have to be sure about myself. I have to have everything in order for myself. Me, I believe in God. I make sure that God is at the head of my life. I make sure that my family is next. I make sure that I'm next. I make sure that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm taking care of my family. And that's all I can worry about. People are going to say so many things. People are going to comment on it. They're going to do it on Facebook, on Instagram. They're going to repost you. You're going to be scared. You got to do it scared.
Go ahead, guys. Doing it scared.
You got to do it scared. Scared is good. Like, if you're scared, if you're scared,
and you got to be so rooted. You got to be so rooted in what, like Alanah just said, you got to know it. Like, for me, I'm gonna be a comedian no matter what I'm doing. Whether I'm working at a school, I'm gonna be the funny teacher. I'm working at the grocery store, I'm the funny dude at the grocery store. I'm working at UPS, it's that. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna be a comic. So it's only but so many distractions that you can throw at me. Obviously, when people say, you know, your little jokes, your little skits, or your little, you're going down to the little comedy club tonight, I might come down there and throw a couple dollars your way, like I'm a stripper. Or they try to pay you with exposure. People try to come get you to do crab feast. Come on out, brother. We got some exposure for you, brother. Got some people gonna look at you. Give you 2 crabs.
And some macaroni salad.
That's been sitting in the sun for 4 hours.
Somebody messaged me the other day and they said, can you do this? Can you come do this song? We would love to get a legend like you on this verse. We can't pay you, but I can feed you and smoke a blunt with you. And I was like,
during Corona?
I was like, did you go back in time and email 17-year-old Easy? Because he would have loved this. He would have been all for this. But
an address. I'll be there in 45 minutes.
Guys, did you want to jump in?
Yeah.
I know.
I just think, just to sum it all up, I came from, my parents were immigrants coming to this country from Nigeria. We, to be an artist was something very scary to them. I knew even walking on Morgan State University's campus, me, being at Western High School, I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm not going to take this business conventional route. I knew I was definitely an artist. I would, I sew, I paint, everything, making jewelry, everything. And the whole thing is this, just, again, what Alanah said, just, you really have to stand in your truth and who you are and just know beyond a shadow of a doubt, like no matter what people might call, people tell me, oh yeah, you like to color for a living. I'm like, coloring, really, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's deeper than that for all of us. You know what I mean? So there's no way to sum it up. We do so much. There's no way to be put in a box, as they say, so it's just one thing, just standing in your truth and just know, you don't have to define yourself as this kind of an artist or blah, 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 whatever, because things are forever changing. So just wanted to say that.
And you tell them you an Emmy award winning colorer.
Shut up,
I'm an Oscar nominated colorer.
I waited for the Oscar out there. So let me ask y'all something. When going gets tough, when you do feel down as an artist, as a creative, I want to understand what I've heard about the mentors. I've heard about, it's good to have people around. What are you doing in those moments when you are down, when the doubt is there, when you are getting overwhelmed by, if that even happens, getting overwhelmed by what's perceived as other success, knowing the amount of work that you're putting in and not feeling that it's being received on the same level? What do you do in those moments, or have you ever been affected by that?
I have real fast. So that's how you got to get into the conversation. I pray first. That's what I do. But then I look at my other artist friends, and at one point I was the artist that compared himself to other people's journey. And I was trying like, oh, they made it there. And I would always compare. And that's what stopped my art years ago. I just stopped creating art because I was always comparing myself to where other people were going. So what I do now in those situations, when I feel like my back is against the wall, I'm struggling, I'm trying to get it all together, I pray. And then once I pray, I ride. If Ernest's doing amazing things, or Ernest, like I look at them and to me, they're all mentors. I don't care what age you are. So I borrow this energy from them, and I I cheer on the people around me as if it was my own journey. And I think once you do that, it takes so much off of you that I can focus on that. Like they're going great. So I celebrate my peers and I celebrate others that are succeeding and changing lives. And I feel that energy. And then when it's my time, it's my time. So I'm just patient.
Mm-hmm. So what I've experienced is this, because the insecurities is a part of it. I mean, that's part of the course. I had an episode this week, like literally yesterday. I had to turn in some work today, and I'm ready to rip it up after weeks of working on it and just literally I'm this close. But I have I have a team. I have people you have to have people who not just care about you, but understand what it means to live a life of insecurity, constant insecurity. That doesn't mean that you don't know. I think I heard Easy say he dope. That doesn't mean that you don't know you're talented. Doesn't mean that you don't know that people admire you, that you've achieved some things. But there is, right? So I try to live every day to the fullest, but most importantly, I have support. My parents are still here who helped raise me in a loving, nurturing environment. I have a team, I have family. My wife gave me a pep talk, and her mother even called me and gave me a pep talk. My daughter, very supportive. I got younger artists that hold me up when I'm feeling like I'm not doing enough or I'm underappreciated. You just have to have people around you who not only care about you, but they understand. If they're not artists themselves, they understand the mind of an artist, and they also understand that your art comes first. And I'll leave it there.
Gozi?
Ernest, she's about to make me cry. That is so important. And I will say, I also pray like crazy when those moments come. And I also find that when of course, when you pour into someone else, and it doesn't have to be another artist, whether it's like, hey, let me just take my mind off of who I am or who I'm trying to be or who I'm not, and try to bless someone else, you know, no matter what that is. That's one thing that helps me. So that's a little tip that I would like to add.
Yeah, I love that you said that, Ngozi, and Brian. Like, it's so important, like what we put out, you know, and that you're constantly putting what you want out into the atmosphere, because you get it back. And a big example for that for me is this song that I got called "Be Great," right? And like I put this song out, and it personally is not one of my favorite songs that I've ever put out. And people are always surprised to hear that. I initially just put it out because I wanted to put that message out there, and I wanted to open the album with that message. But what happens now is people will jokingly say to me, I just want you to be great. And I didn't really factor that part of it into putting that song out. You know what I'm saying? So I put this thing out that's constantly coming back to me. So, you know what I mean? So when I'm down and I'm not in a good place, yeah, I do my regular stuff. I check in. Am I drinking water? Do I need to take a break and go in a park somewhere? Do I need to, you know, be around some people I haven't seen in a while? But then also, as I'm creating and as I put that kind of energy out there, because I know there's a time when I'm going to need it back. And I can honestly say, like, my community holds me down. You know what I mean? When they don't even know it, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of that is because that's the energy that I put out. And I feel so bad for artists sometimes who get frustrated because they're not getting the support, they're not getting the love. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, bro, you don't support nobody, you don't show nobody no love. It's not gonna happen. And I'm sorry to tell you that, but like, it's not. You are gonna have to, like, if you're gonna keep being like that, you're just gonna have to fight and scam and scheme your way up. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you're not putting that out there, you're just not going to get it back.
So I'm going to let you know, we're about to keep the conversation going. But for those that are watching, if you have questions or comments, feel free to put those into the chat. This is where we're coming to the part of the program where we're able to review those. In the meantime, we're going to keep this party going. Now, did you like how I did that? Something? Yes, but yes, but
I love how
you like that segue. All right, go ahead.
That was great.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what everyone was just saying in regards. For me, when I'm in those low spots, I try to, one, get into nature. I go into the woods with our children, which, you know, I go up deep into the woods. I mean, so you don't see roads, you don't hear nothing but birds. Like, for me, I'm the type of person, I need to get very still. I need to hear myself. Having 3 boys in the house, that's almost impossible most days. And then I try to get back around. So for me, you know, I make people laugh for a living. So I try to do or see something that makes me laugh. When you feel what you're trying to give somebody, it reignites it in you. Like, because when I'm the one on stage night after night, you know, telling the jokes, after a while, you only, you know, hear the laughter, but you're not really feeling it come out of your body, how it really burns up in your chest when somebody catches you off guard. So I get around our boys, literally probably 3 of the funniest people I've ever been around in my life. And I've worked with some of the best top comedians in this world. So when you feel somebody hit you with that sucker punch of laughter and like you can't breathe and, you know, that warmth kind of, you know, just, you know, rushes over your body, it immediately fills me back up. And I'm like, okay, I can keep doing this. Like, you know, this is light work, you know, so I can push back the negative feelings because you're going to have those low spots. You know, Ernest said it, you know, the insecurities, it's built into being an artist almost. Because you're sharing something that's so intimate. You're sharing something that so many people have inside them, but they never let out. So you're going to have that, you know, apprehension about putting it out into the world. How do you feel when you send your kid to pre-K for the first day? That whole day you're wrecked, wondering who's doing something to them, how they treating it. Are they touching it or they appreciating it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No.
it's for me, it's that. It's getting out for a bit, breathing in fresh air, and then trying to consume what I'm trying to give.
Received. Alanah
Cool.
was, as you were talking, I was like, okay, she is ready to co-sign, jump on it. Go ahead, Alanah.
I just wanted to say something really silly. When I feel down and when I'm feeling what everybody else is feeling on this panel, I text my sugar daddy and I ask him for $300.
I need 350
I
personally.
believe her.
I need 350.
Cash App.
You're lowballing yourself.
You're undervaluing your, yes, bro.
To ask for more. You need to ask for more.
What's up, Alanah? We just talked about this.
Put some more zeros behind that.
Shameless plug to anybody out there listening. I am currently in search for a sugar mama. Sugar mama. For the exact reason that Alanah is talking about.
Yo, y'all crazy.
Okie dokie.
Go up in front of that food line on the Alameda.
So I do have a question for y'all. Oh my God.
Stay in front of that food line.
Stop it. All right. Shush. Here's my question. As artists, 2021, has the role changed? Aaron, are you coming into the world different? Are you being recognized differently? Do you feel different after coming out of a pandemic, quarantined?
I do. My fault. I didn't let you finish your question, Dionne.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think every year we feel different. And I'm not one of those new year, new me type people. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much carry the same energy, you know what I mean, into every year, which is, you know, I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better son. I'm going to be, you know what I mean, a better artist. I'm going to be a better member of my community, a better educator. So, you know, this year was really no different from that standpoint. But, you know, it just from a personal standpoint with me was different because of what the pandemic meant for me in terms of how work changed and all that kind of stuff. But I've actually, counter to what I've been hearing from a lot of people, and I have to say this the right way, because you got to take into account that, you know, this has been one of the, you know, hardest times in documented history that we've had, you know, not just as a people, but as a country. You know, people have been struggling. People have been having to find a way to make a way out of no way. And even for myself personally, going into the pandemic, all of the opportunities that I had lined up, you know, disappeared. But that opportunity, you know, I realized in hindsight was God giving me a chance to slow down, realign my priorities and perspectives, to get my household in order to a sense. You know what I mean? To get closer with my family, you know, to be more present in the lives of my children, and to be more intentional and caring in my relationship with this beautiful Black woman that I'm trying to love down forever. So at the end of the day, like, in that realignment, I found an inspiration, a peace, and a perspective that has led to me doing probably some of my most transformative work, both on the canvas and in the community. So I'm just really trying to see that continue to blossom and flourish, and trying to be a good steward over the blessings that, you know, that I've been given.
Anyone else? So in understanding this.
Hold on, Dionne, I got something, Dionne.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Go ahead, Brian.
I was late. I'm sorry. I had to go to
That's
different.
my fault.
You know, switch
That's my
locations.
This year, because of the COVID, I can't hear this thing.
COVID situation. Oh, it's gunshots now. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Because of
Say, only on my panel
because of the
would
COVID.
that be gunshots.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, let's get it together. because of the whole COVID situation, that lack of community which built my artistry, because I was missing that piece, it's like during that time, I had to take a couple steps back, and I realized how much community meant for me as an artist. So going into this 2021, this whole pandemic, post-pandemic situation, I can feel like my responsibility for my community and to share what my community has meant for me is greater now than it was
Wow.
before COVID. Yeah, it's crazy. That's all I have right there.
Okay. I want to go deeper into how is that though? I want to understand, how is that possible? What was it, seeing the effects of things that were happening during 2020?
I miss people. I miss the interaction with people, community, seeing people's faces, talking, just popping up and seeing them be able to exchange conversations, that closeness. Like I miss all of that. So when we all had to go, yeah, I miss all that, man. Playing, because I mean, Aaron supposed to be playing basketball, and then like COVID saved him
For a year.
from this work. So
Nothing me for a year.
that's what I'm trying to say. Let's stick to the topic. So what I'm trying to tell you is, like, even with the Black Genius Art Show, like to be able to put that on a platform where other people are seeing in other states, like that name alone, I did a show in Chicago and had a white woman stand outside the window, see the words on the wall, and tell me that wasn't for her. So for me to even get a canvas to put my name on a shoe and have people wear it across, like in other states, that's a powerful tool right there. So that's how I know that my community, and being able to take that and what it meant to me and put it on a shoe that expressed Baltimore with some Nina Simone vibes on it. Yeah. Thank you.
There's a question from the audience. How do you work with media? Do you seek media attention? Do you do self-promotion? How do you work to get your work out there?
So this is a great question. I like to talk about this because I take a lot of what I do with my music career from work that I did as an organizer. And there's earned media and there's paid media, right?
Yeah.
And there's like, you put out a press release, you let media know that something is happening, but you also like stay present and stay doing stuff that catch people's eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
So artists that, I'm just talking from music perspective, right?
Right.
Artists that are constantly only posting about their music all the time, it dies off after a while, right? Especially if you're not paying for marketing or paying for this promotion, right? But all you're doing all the time, every day, is posting your music. And then you're even holding your followers hostage by saying stuff like, if you don't listen to this, then I don't rock with you, right? You're really cutting people off and people are less interested. But like say, just this past week, I did an ad with the city health department for COVID vaccines,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That shit don't have nothing to do with, my music or whatever, but I'm staying present in different issues that I care about, commenting on things that we're all thinking about, we're all talking about, so that when I do drop music, the people who are paying attention, the writers, they grab it. And a lot of times those articles, those hits are your more genuine write-ups because you didn't go to them and ask them for that. You know what I mean? You didn't pay them, you didn't email them. They saw it and they went, oh, that's dope that he's doing that. I'm going to write something about it. So for me, I think earned media is a big thing. And you earn media by constantly being present, being out here, being, showing yourself friendly to all the different groups and organizations. Alanah earlier was talking about a lot of artists that I mentor or artists that I support. A lot of times they stop doing music and they start doing other stuff. You know what I mean? And so they're still a fan of the culture. You know what I mean? So they're letting people know that I'm still doing it, that I'm out here. You know what I mean? It's just earning. I think earned media is one of the best things that has helped my career personally. Is the earned media.
Alanah.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of just agree. Earned media, I think, is the best kind. If you're doing something that's so dope that is like really stopping a journalist or an editor or whoever it is in their tracks, and they just have to come and write about it, like that is just a high honor. I get emails every week because of how I've begun to write about folks and their initiatives. musics, mixtapes, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's really great and sometimes it's really not. And I think sometimes it's really important. That's why I mentioned earlier, to tell people to stay at the drawing board for a little longer.
Right.
And I think it's important to be really honest in those moments instead of gassing people or accepting cash apps to do write-ups for, publications that are not just going to carry them anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Payola, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in bribery for write-ups. And that's a whole culture here in Baltimore and in many cities.
It is?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Baltimore artists, and I'm just coming from the music perspective, a lot of people think that Baltimore artists aren't as big as they should be or not as known as they should be because, we're getting overlooked or maybe, we don't have this or we don't have that. But at running my own record label right now, I've learned and I've just learned this year that it's actually we don't have the money. Like it costs anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million to promote a song to where it gets on the Billboard on the charts, and that's the machine of the music industry. And so it's on you. You know what I mean? It's like what do you want your career to be? Where do you want to go? And sometimes you do have to pay for that. You got to pay for the marketing. Like we haven't been seeing clips and stuff about DJ Khaled's album that dropped this morning because people like DJ Khaled. No, DJ Khaled put $1 million into marketing. And so when we go on Instagram every morning this week, we see something about DJ Khaled. Oh, he's got a song with Jay-Z and Nas. Oh, he got a song with Cardi. Oh, he got a song with Paper. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then the album drops. It's like all of that is intentional and all of it is paid for.
Jason or Aaron, I saw a nod. I want to make sure.
I didn't know if Alanah was finished yet. I wanted to let her finish before I said that.
No, that's really the evil of it, is that people are paying for it instead of just earning it. And I think that that's kind of crazy. So if I ever write anything that looks like somebody paid me for it, or you hear that, just call my mama and tell her to take me to Jesus. That's all. I just wanted to see that.
Understood. Wow.
And just to piggyback off of what they both just said, because it's perfect. Like, quality content is always going to get your foot indoors that mediocre content will not. You know what I mean? And there is no substitute. Being able to put some money behind a mediocre product is not going to make it a first tier product. You know what I mean? Like, and one of the things that I respect about everybody on this panel, and really one of the things that, just to be honest and stand on the soapbox for a minute, I want to see people like, understand that what you're seeing right now and what you're surrounded by is not normal. There are very few places you can go in the world and see the artistic talent that we have cultivated here in this. And like my people ain't regular. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing normal about us. And like, the scary thing is sometimes I feel like I'm living in the future. I mean, living in the present of my future life. You know what I mean? Because I've already seen the big writers, you know what I mean, on Ernest. I've seen his documentary. You know what I mean? I've seen write-ups on Easy. I've seen Mine and Her. I've seen D. Watkins celebrated. I've seen Lady Breon Hughes and all those cats immortalized. But at the end of the day, because of social media, because of the way that narratives are controlled and all of that, we just know it's a matter of time. And the sad thing is, the second part of the sentence is it's only a matter of time before white America realizes what most of us already know. Like, this renaissance that we in the middle of right now is something that is going to be talked about forever. You know what I mean? So my whole thing is, it's like, the people that I admire and respect, they take the time to create quality products. You know what I'm saying? And I try to do the same thing. And because of that, I've never had to pay for any kind of promotion. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, like, I feel like if I gotta pay you to talk about how good I am at something, I'm probably not that good. But if I'm creating quality content, and I'm creating content that is high enough quality that you have people that see it and then inspire them to say, I want to tell this story, or I want to highlight this, or I want to exhibit this, then I've actually built a real following. I've actually built something that's sustainable, and I think that as much as we are encouraging, as not us right now, but as people are encouraging folks to do whatever they need to do to put money behind their stuff, it's like, yo, is this really a product that you need to be putting money behind? You know, because just because you put money behind it doesn't mean it's gonna return a whole lot to you in the form of that investment. You know, but if we have quality content, then that quality content doesn't need too much money behind it to get in front of some people and for them to understand that this is transformative. Transformative work is always going to speak for itself.
All 8 of you, all 7 of you have been transformative in this hour and a half. As we're coming down to the end, knowing that there is another event happening at 4, it's the keynote event at 4 o'clock. I wanted to, there were some things that were picked up on: the mentorship, knowing your worth, standing in your truth, understanding that we are literally living. Don't wait for others to recognize what we already have. Thank you for taking your time to share with me, with Baltimore today. I'm addressing those in the crowd now. Please feel free, the program book that we've provided provides contact information. Follow everyone that is on this panel today. Encourage that journey and also be able to learn more about them in that program book. Thank you. Understand something. Art is not what you make, it's what you make people see.
Unapologetically black. Yeah. Unapologetically black. Unapologetically black. Start off shotgun, hand on the pump like them white boys who voted for Donald Trump. The imagery you giving me and mine ain't fact though. Everything I ever knew to be the greatest was black hope. From Malcolm to Satchmo, from the city to back roads. My people make cuisine when they threw us the scratch. Put me in schools with old books and the inside. My black teachers had us memorized and still I rise in the black national anthem. Young, black, and handsome. The best way to describe Miss Catherine grandson. Descendant of a beautiful hue that you can't bleach. Speak the language of the 98 boys that you can't reach. You lame if you think you're killing my spirit.